Hello there and welcome to AM Prime on WESN Contents Capital. I'm Keaton Shaw. Thank you very much for joining us as we get into our discussion this morning. We're focusing on Caribbean Airlines first. As I welcome to the program the retired Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Ramesh Lakshmidiyal. Good morning, Mr. Lakshmidiyal. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Shane.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, sir, on the program. Caribbean Airlines estimates that its losses over the last 2 days of industrial action, or, well, what we're referring to as sick calls from pilots not showing up to work, has led to 6-day flights being cancelled or postponed and $15 million in losses. Now, the industrial court has actually issued an injunction stating that how the pilots must return to work. And also, the Trinbago Airline Pilots Association has to issue a memorandum stating that its pilots, its members, also must return to work once they are fit in terms of health. Mr. Lakshmidiyal, following this story, could you kindly give us your assessment for what has taken place and the response thus far from the Airlines Association as well as Caribbean Airlines?
Well, I would say firstly, it's unfortunate that this impasse happened because it took place at a time when Caribbean Airlines was on the cusp of making a profit, and this action caused them to lose. In fact, as I said, close to $15 million. It also would have contributed to a loss of goodwill on the part of some passengers who were very upset about the disruption. And it begs the question, what happened? What caused something had to go drastically wrong, because it is common in collective bargaining for negotiations to break down, and then the parties would use either back channels to get back to the table or to seek arbitration. You can report an unresolved dispute to the minister, who will then seek to conciliate, and at the end of it, they may agree to arbitration either by a third party, which could include the industrial court. So it is curious to me, and I guess a large number of the traveling public, what triggered this action? Something must have happened that triggered the action, because they've been talking for a number of years, Yeah,
and that's the thing, Mr. Lakshmidiyal. Right now, the association is currently negotiating with CAL for the 2015-2020 period. A lot of it has been stated that this was strike action. The Airlines Pilots Association actually refuted these claims that a strike was taking place. But it certainly raises once more the financial position of the airline.
Well, the airline went through a very difficult period during the COVID pandemic, and the taxpayers supported the airline. The company did for some staff, people were sick, salary cuts, but at the end of the day, during the post-COVID recovery period, employees were back on the job and their salaries were reinstated. But at the end of it all, the taxpayers were the ones who have faithfully supported CAL throughout its difficult times when the airline was losing money, and they needed the financial support of the taxpayer to stay on. So it's really what happened really is a sort of slap in the face to the taxpayers who have been supporting CAL, that some action was taken that caused the airline to lose $15 million and counting, and that would be a setback to its plan to achieve financial sustainability.
Now, we understand that 75 out of 217 pilots actually called in sick, which led to this major disruption. Caribbean Airlines has placed blame solely on the pilots who have decided to take such action. The Minister of Energy and Energy Industries yesterday indicated that it was really the pilots who have caused the citizens of Trinbago to suffer. But are we looking at this from a narrow-minded perspective, that it's way beyond just the fault of pilots taking such actions?
Well, clearly there is more than what meets the eye. I will not blame the pilots solely for what has happened. I think that management has to take some responsibility. whether management was proactive enough to initiate measures to avoid the impasse. I am not aware who CAL's industrial relation advisors are, what are their competencies and expertise in the field of aviation industrial relations, especially as it relates to the working conditions of pilots. So I would say that no party is without blame in this impasse. Both sides have to share responsibility, and of course, Talpa did engage in some form of semantics because Caribbean Airlines is classified under the IRA as an essential service. Any form of industrial action, a strike, a lockout, a sick out, a go slow, a work rule, is outlawed. And if the union were to admit that it is taking industrial action, the union can be decertified, and its members who took part in the action can be terminated legally. You know, so you would not get the union admitted in any form or fashion that the members engage in industrial action. You know, for obvious reasons. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Lachmidial, you mentioned something there. You're not entirely sure what measures the airlines would have had in place to deal with such a situation. You also spoke about the competencies of those who may be advising Caribbean Airlines from an industrial relations aspect. But these measures that you speak of, in your opinion, and also being the retired head of the Civil Aviation Authority, what measures do you think could have been in place to try and prevent some action of this sort taking place?
Well, all disputes, whether it's of an international nature, private nature, or domestic nature, it can only be solved on the basis of dialogue. People have to talk. We have to talk. We have to understand each other's position. And at the end of the day, we solve problems on the basis of compromise. We have to communicate. And clearly, in my view, and I know these are the facts, but there was a breakdown in communication between the management of CAL and the union that led to this impasse. And in my view, I believe that if there was some measure of compromise on both sides, that this could have been avoided.
Now, beyond that, actually, Caribbean Airlines says that it is usually fully prepared to ensure the smooth functioning of its flights, and it had meticulous planning and a state of readiness. It seems as though that the statement from Caribbean Airlines contradicts entirely the handling of the situation.
Well, I can't understand how you can say on one hand that you were in a state of readiness to deal with any contingency that may arise, and then there was sick out en masse, flights were disrupted, and you had to cancel over 60 flights, you know, so there's something that's not adding up there. And I mean, I am a very loyal supporter of Caribbean Airlines. I've worked with BWI for 31 years, and I owe everything that I've achieved in my aviation career to my experience and development at BWI. So I support CAL fully, and I think that the pilot's action, in my view, was inappropriate, ill-timed, and ill-advised. But I'm also asking the question, was there something that could have been done to avoid it? And I believe that there would have been measures, continuation of the discussions, coming back to the table, right? Yes.
Well, Mr. Lachmidial, as much as many would agree that it is ill-timed, given that it's a peak season in terms of vacation travels, especially on the inter-island air bridge, and perhaps ill-advised as well, one cannot argue that it certainly has made an impact and once more put the microscope on Caribbean Airlines. As mentioned, we've had many releases. We've had releases from political parties. We've had release from Caribbean Airlines, as well as statements from the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries. But beyond that, Talpa says that it believes in the strength of its network as well as the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Again, as mentioned previously, the financial situation of Caribbean Airlines has once more been raised from this industrial action. So wouldn't you say, though it's ill-advised and ill-timed, that it certainly has been effective?
Well, I said ill-timed and ill-advised because as I said before, CAL is on the cusp of achieving profitability and sustained financial viability. And the actions and when an airline, when an employer, because one of the things in any wage negotiations is the ability of the employer to pay. And if an entity is not making money, if it doesn't depend on the taxpayers for support, then you cannot make wage demands that the entity cannot afford to pay. And Carla said, and pilot costs are very high. To keep pilots trained and qualified and to maintain their levels of competencies, it costs CAL a lot of money to do that. Operate training, for example, is very, very costly. So that at the end of the day, one has to be very reasonable. And the expectation has always been that once the airline has achieved profitability and financial self-sufficiency, that it will lead to improved terms and conditions and also job security, you know? I mean,
sorry, Mr. Lachmidiyal, you were saying?
The demise of Liat was partly due to the fact that the employees were taking disruptive industrial action, and at a time when Liat was losing millions of dollars. And at the end of the day, the shareholder governments could not continue with that situation and took a decision to liquidate the airline, Liat 1974.
In terms of Caribbean Energy, you said Caribbean Energy is on the cusp of making a profit. Where are we getting these figures from? The last figures, from what I understand, is that up until fiscal 2022, they received 95 million from the government. For 2023, they're expected to receive 85 million, but they're still operating at a loss. The 2021 saw over 172.7 million in losses.
Well, my information is that their revenue projections indicate that very soon that their operating revenues will exceed the operating cost. And they have embarked upon an expansion program, taking advantage of, one, the demise of Liat, and they have effectively replaced Liat in Eastern Caribbean. They have created hubs in different places and providing excellent connectivity to passengers to North American destinations. And recently, Air Canada pulled out indefinitely from the Port of Spain Toronto route. WestJet has not re-entered, and that's a very lucrative route. And there are lots of revenue that can be generated on that Port of Spain Toronto route with an onward connection to Guyana because of the large Western diaspora that resides in Canada.
But beyond that, Mr. Lachmidiyal, also taking a look at it from the aspect of whether or not Caribbean Airlines could afford to expand or actually have a monopoly on such routes at this time.
Well, clearly now they will have a monopoly on the Port of Spain Toronto route, which they had before when Air Canada pulled out several years ago. And as I said before, that the airline industry, you do not expand willy-nilly. It is based on a very robust market research and strategic planning. So they will not just pursue a route for the sake of flying to a destination. It will be based on market research that shows that there is a demand for travel between the two city pairs. And CAL has a very a good analytics group that does that on a continuous basis. They scan the environment to see what are market opportunities available that we can operate into and be able to generate revenues that will exceed our operating costs in that route.
Well, Mr. Lachmidiyal, as we're coming towards the end of this conversation, I think we can take that whilst Caribbean Airlines seems to be heading in a positive direction in terms of finances, even in terms of expansions of routes available, there's still some questions to be had with regard to measures that were not in place to try and help a situation that occurred over the weekend. Is there any sense, though, of empathy towards the pilots?
Well, the pilots are the most skilled sector of CAL's workforce. They have to meet very stringent regulatory standards as it pertains to their competencies and their medical standards. They are the public face of the airline, and therefore, at the end of the day, we have to ensure that things are right in the cockpit. We don't want to have pilots who are very frustrated over their terms and conditions flying an aircraft, because at the end of the day, your emotional state can contribute to fatigue, and fatigue is something that you want to avoid in the cockpit, and this is why there are regulations that govern the amount of hours that pilots can fly, what we call the flight and duty time limitations, because, and one's emotional state, right, impacts the level of fatigue that one can develop, and pilots are legally required to report unfit for duty if they have any kind of medical condition that would affect their ability to, their mental and physical competencies to operate an aircraft. On the other hand, you cannot take advantage of that, because if for example, that you're a pilot, I'm just giving you for instance, any part of the world who's flying commercially, and he just prior to taking up duty, he's involved in a very serious domestic dispute that has created emotional trauma, he will be required to declare himself unfit to fly by law. If he's suffering with, let's say, a sinus problem that erupted, he is required to declare himself unfit. But on the other hand, as he has stressed, on the other hand, that right of the pilot to declare himself unfit can be abused, like when people are saying they are unwell,
Which is why.
So it goes, but I want to make the point that, in my view, I know most of the pilots. I am very familiar with the management of CAL, and I'm very familiar with industrial relations at CAL because I was involved with the trade union movement in BWI for most of my 31 years there, and something definitely went wrong because all the unions are in-house unions where the officers are all employees of CAL, unlike a union that represents workers when the union officials are not really employees of the entity. So therefore, there's no empathy there, if you understand what I'm saying. So for this impasse to happen, something went wrong, and the public is saying that all parties must come clean and call us a spade. Tell us what happened.
Precisely.
What we do, because I don't know what happened, and I've sought not to inquire because I wanted to take a very objective view of what happened and try to analyze what could have gone wrong and what could have been done, because at the end of the day, the airline industry is highly safety sensitive. And what we don't want is tensions in the cockpit, where you have one pilot flying who took industrial action, and the other pilot refused to take industrial action. That's not healthy for safety. So to avoid any kind of industrial relations instability, especially with the pilot workforce.
Which is
that happened in 1978 when the pilots went on strike, and they were fired, and it took them 8 months to get back their jobs. And I was very involved with the airline industry at that time and very familiar with all the details of it. And I would never like to see a repeat of that situation, because the aftermath of that went on for decades when there was tensions between pilots who went on strike and those who didn't support the strike. And that's not healthy for safety in the cockpit.
Well, that's the thing, Mr. Lachmidial, because now you're wondering what is that health or that relationship like in the cockpit, given that it's 75 out of 217 pilots. The Airline Pilots Association, I believe, on Sunday issued a statement saying that there was no strike action taking place. So now it's a matter of now trying to deal with the mess within the association, if that be the case, as well as the thoughts or whether or not there's a split, even within the association, with so many pilots seeing it necessary to take such actions, while the majority did not. So now there are questions surrounding, as you mentioned, the health of the relationships within the cockpit.
As I said before, in my view, this situation could have been avoided if there was effective communication, if back channels were used. I remember when I was involved in the trade union movement at BWI, and there was a particular dispute we had And it ended with a standoff between the union and the executive responsible for industrial relations. And immediately after the meeting broke up, I picked up the phone and I called this year and I said, I need to speak with you. He said, come up right away. We spoke. And the next day the matter was resolved. So there are back channels to be used. Why these back channels were not used, I don't know. I don't have the answer because I was not there. But for this to erupt, especially after the very difficult times that everybody went through, employers and the airline, the employees and the airline, during the COVID period, which was beyond everybody's control. For this to come now, what happened? Something went wrong. Something drastically went wrong, and we need to find out what that was. And what happened over the weekend was water under the bridge, but we need to put measures in place to ensure it never happens again.
So then, therefore, Mr. Lachimijal is just saying that we need to find out what happened. We know, and taking it from the objective standpoint, is it unfair to even question whether or not Caribbean Airlines is reliable as an airline, even in regard to the air bridge?
They are reliable. There are many issues with the air bridge. One is the economic cost. It costs CAL at least $1,400 to provide a return seat on the air bridge, and the passengers are only paying $400. And therefore, the taxpayers are subsidizing the air bridge significantly. And therefore, CAL has to be very business smart. And what they're doing, they have to be able to control the capacity they're putting on, because they want to be able to fly with high load factors to reduce the operating loss. An airline, the average cannot be like a market taxi service, right? It costs the airline a lot of money to provide a seat, and they're not getting back a fair return on that. The same thing with LIAT. One of the things that the market was very thin, and the fares that they were generating based on the low load factors could not cover the cost of the operation. That was another major factor in LIAT's demise.
Well, Mr. Lachimijal, as you said, I think we have to wait for more information. But based off of what we have thus far, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the program this morning, sharing with us this information, and even highlighting that there were preventative measures, proactive measures that could have been implemented to try and ensure that such action did not take place. I'm also appreciative of the fact that you spoke about the health within the cockpit and the relationships now between pilots, for those who took action, for those who saw it unnecessary and unfit, and even bringing up CAL's industrial relations advisors. But thank you very much, Mr. Lachimijal. Wishing you all the best, and hopefully when we get more information, if we get more information, we can expand a bit further.
As I said, there can be no substitute for dialogue. Even globally, you have all these major superpowers, and publicly they appear to be very adversarial, but there are always back channels that are used to communicate to prevent any kind of Armageddon and so on with a nuclear disaster. That happens all the time. And so I'm saying that something went wrong that caused that breakdown in dialogue between TALPA and CAL.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Mr. Lachimijal. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, Caribbean Airlines estimates that the losses thus far from the 2 days of actions from pilots calling in sick has cost the airlines approximately $15 million. A lot more factors to consider, but that's just a rough estimate at this point. The true cost cannot be actually identified at this time. Furthermore, 6-day flights had to be cancelled, and unfortunately, as Mr. Lachimijal pointed out, CAL has been on a positive trajectory in terms of its finances. However, this will put a damper in that movement. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break here on AM Prime, and upon our return, we'll get into some more conversations this morning. Stay tuned.
We exposed 5 strangers to KFC's delicious chicken to see if any time could be KFC time. And at the first bite, the party began. We repeated the experiment during the day, during business hours, on weekends, with sunshine, with rain. And it's confirmed. KFC's flavor makes anytime KFC time. KFC, It's finger licking good.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. Get everything you need to give your home that special look and feel. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. 5 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at Westmore, Pennywise Plaza Shoguanas, C3 Center Branch and C3 San Fernando. Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
From Maracas Bay to Arpita Avenue and Piaco, Richard's Bake and Shark brings the world's most popular fish sandwich closer to you. Open daily at all our locations.
You gave us the inspiration to be first. We gave you the solutions that put you first. You walked with us side by side, and we continued to serve you with pride. First Citizens celebrates with you 30 years of achieving dreams, shaping success stories, and painting brighter futures together. And together, we'll accomplish so much more. First Citizens, together, 30 and beyond.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios. But they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Did you tell your hubby about it, first of all?
I did.
When you were telling him, did you think that he was going to think differently of you or less of you?
I thought exactly that.
In case you've missed it, it's an encore of Nicole Larson Live. Relive some of the riveting experiences of everyday people who candidly shared with me their stories, life challenges, stories of hope, and eventual victories.
Because he is not like man, because he is the God. It is a promise that we can hold on to.
The report came back that she had 2 properly...
Eric, behave yourself, no man.
2 properly working kidneys.
An encore of Nicole Larson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
My name is Carl Media. I'm the founder and the host of Ever Increasing Voice Ministries. Join me every Saturday and Sunday on WESN, this powerful station, at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. nightly. Also on Sundays, I'll be on at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night time. When you come here, we are getting people heavenly ready.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you do in our day.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white, and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Well, WESN Content Capsule is about to celebrate 3 years on air. A lot of work took place to get the station up and running, the creative side, the technical side. But 3 years, WSN has achieved quite a bit. In fact, that was symbolized by our recent achievements at the Caribbean Broadcasters Union Awards 2022 that took place in Antigua and Barbuda last week. Well, WESN really continues its ascent, its climb to greatness. I'd argue we're already great, but you know, that's just a delightful way to put it. This morning, to expand on that, I'm joined by the Managing Director of WESN Content Capital, Mr. Darren Leasing. Good morning.
Good morning, Keaton. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Well,
happy to be here with you.
Welcome to the program, sir. How are you doing?
A little tired. I wonder how you do it every day.
I wonder too.
But in reality, we know Trinbagonians are getting ready to school reopening. September is a big month, yes. September 27th is our 3-year anniversary. And we have a lot to be proud of.
Yes.
Keaton, if I rewind to year 2, we did win an award in the 2021 version of the CBU. We won an award for We Comedy Jam, Best Comedy Show. And so we were very delighted coming out from that year and hopeful that this year the judges of the CMA Awards would see the work of this little shop. And I mean that in earnest, that this is a little shop. In contrast to the big players that we went up against, even in this year, I think those in the audience got to see that we were nominated in almost every TV category. And that in of itself was a big feat. But you could only come out a winner and not a winner.
Where did WESN, I know that we were awarded 2 awards in awards in particular. We also had an honorable mention. What shows, what categories did we see our success?
Well, let's start with the honorable mention. Our girl, Nicole Larson, she got honorable mention for Best Magazine Show. And I'm really proud of Rodney, yourself, and the entire team for this one, because this one took a lot out of us. Nicole Larson, she's the closest thing to what a good civic human being is. No negativity, only positively, only looking at God and what God means in our lives. And so when she came to us and asked for a magazine show, we said, yeah, we will do it with you. And we did it proud. It's simulcast on TTT. So our friends at TTT get a little free blind for the production work that we do.
I'd actually like to make a special mention to our in-house creative genius, and that is Josh Alexander. I mean, he's worked tremendously hard on every single shoot, but particularly Nicole Larson Live.
I don't think we could stop there. you preempted what we were to do at the end. But in reality, it is a team effort. I don't think that people realize the quality productions that we put out is really by a team of maybe 10 persons. And it's heralded by Rodney Gani, my partner, and I can't say thank you enough, Rodney. But Joash, the magician, Aaliyah, the mini magician, Neil, the other magician.
The silent magician.
The silent, strong magician. And then you have Master Control, Ryan, Mael, Riley, all these other people, Miles, that made it up and helped us get where we are. You have you and Sean and Sarah. And that's really what makes up the magic that then comes and with Rodney's extensions creates these things. And so you can't say thank you enough to them for the yeoman service of making WESN the place as a production house. Mm-hmm. And so I'm proud on behalf of Rodney and myself, we say thank you to our team.
I think you just hit the nail on the head there. But you also mentioned production house.
Yeah.
WSN Studios and the entire, as I said, creativity and technical side of it. We've certainly achieved quite a lot, given not only our age, but also the landscape of which we've evolved within, the media landscape, that is.
Well, when you consider, I started by telling you, from as far north as the Jamaica RJR Gleaner Group, which is probably no less than 2,000 employees, to all the way down to Suriname, even our colleagues here in Trinidad, they are big media houses, grandiose. TTT, who is funded by the state, they're probably the luckiest of the group. So when you compare that this little house has come and has held its own against them, that's a feat in itself.
Mm-hmm. Certainly, I agree. What are the other two? Because I see there are two other certificates there on the table with you.
Well, What's Up Doc, Season 2. You know, in the first season, we had Dr. Tonya, but she's gone off and she's doing the maternal stuff now. and Dr. Tonya, I want to say, Dr. Welch, I want to say thank you for Season 1. But Dr. Nalini Kokaram came in Season 2, and she redefined what What's Up Doc is. She truly took it and, in her experience, sort of expand what health education is, because she knew this was the platform to help Trinidad and Tobago and perhaps selflessly get less customers coming through her door. But the reality is, if we help our sons and daughters better their lifestyles, which is what she did, because she came out hitting hard with strong interviews on such critical topics to us. And so she got Best Healthcare Education Journalism Award. And it was sponsored by Sagicor. So she came out the bat, and in her second season, her first innings, she's won this award on our behalf. And I see that with the team all behind her, because the team helped in making the magic. And so I am very proud on behalf of this award. Mm-hmm. Our second award, Keaton, is a double whammy. We didn't expect it. We sat down there with biting our nails, watching the awards, and it is Best Entertainment Show. And we got a double whammy out of it, because the team submitted for We Christmas. I can't tell you where it was filmed. We chose lots of magical locations to film We Christmas. And we also won for Diwali Mastani. So we won for two cultural elements of Trinidad society in one go. And so I'm very proud of this one. Best Entertainment Show. You can't ask for more, Keaton.
And certainly, if you have not seen any of these shows, WSN is always doing its part to bring that entertainment to you. But Darren, what do you think is the formula for WSN's success and all that it has actually achieved within the last 3 years? Again, noting all the factors, including a media landscape that has not been entirely easy to ride.
The first one is there's no iron team. I, Rodney, we'd be nothing without all of you. All of your sacrifices, all of your long hours, added hours. But the team here is a special team. I've worked in many places, and I've seen the disconnects. But here, there's a camaraderie. Many Friday evening, I leave here, and you guys are hanging out, playing cards, doing production work together. Nobody leaves before the last man. That says a lot. That says to me, I'm really not important in this matrix. That I could leave tomorrow and this shop will run itself. And so in 3 years achieving that, that says a lot. You touch a little point, which is the economy. And in the absence of a survey, I keep echoing it. There's nothing that can be done. I had hoped that our friends at the Telecoms Authority would have taken on the mantle that the TTBB and the AAATT once had, and somehow invest in us having surveys. In the past, it's been somewhat skewed because people knew, media houses knew when the survey would happen. So they would crank up their machinery, 999 and all these kind of magical things to make themselves look good, cricket and all these things. You pad it to get the ratings. But if there's an entity working with MFO that will do it without us knowing and collectively command us all to do it, from the biggest to the smallest. And there's always this misnomer, Keaton, that when you include telecoms players with the media, you think the media is these big boys. But in reality, in terms of revenues, 90-something% of the revenues reside with the telecoms players, the big ones, the red, the green, the blues. Mm-hmm. And the media is straddling down there with the last 5%. So it's about re-education in process. It's about even getting advertiser confidence back. COVID did a number on the industry, and in reality, many of the traditional advertisers turned to digital. And you would understand why. There was nothing happening. Mm-hmm. But we, as a country, have to look back now and invest in local. We have to truly double down on that process, from advertiser to government. They are the big players in this thing, and they have to understand their roles. I've long articulated the model for TTT, and I think Helen Drayton did her different stakeholder models, and I don't want to touch it because that ultimately is the government's instrument, and you cannot tell them what to do. But they ought not to be competing with private sector. Mm-hmm. In the same breath, private sector has a right to do some of the things that we are not now doing. And that's partially what WSN came into the landscape to do. Local content, reinvigorate us. Forget about the Western content and the Netflixes and those places, and let us truly invest in who we are. If there's Hollywood, and there's Bollywood, and there's Nollywood, who's to stop us from creating? Well, I don't know what the acronym would be, or the word would be for that model. And so we have an assignment ahead, and this little shop that you belong to, and that I belong to, we have a responsibility to our viewing audiences.
Do you think that the recognitions received generally across the board, but even as we speak about WESN and these awards, show why investing in local is in itself a good investment with good returns?
Well, Keaton, I am proud of Trinidad and Tobago in this light. Over the years, if you look back at the CBU Award, the Caribbean Media Awards, they don't call it the CBU Awards, you've seen that Belize and Jamaica have always commanded There was actually a year where Cuba, ICRT, radio in Cuba took all the awards. But this year, Trinidad, in the combined effort, if my maths is correct, we got 12 awards collectively of all the TV stations here. And that's no easy feat. I think we came out the bat as this young little spark, and many of the other stations started, I don't want to say copying us, but they started seeing interest in the local content again. And so I'm proud that we were the catalyst to light that spark.
I think you could say it as it is, you know, because if you don't want to say it, I'll say it. And there are stations out there that are copying us.
Well, in reality, it is for the viewer to decide who's the best and who does. It's natural competition, and you have to accept that in the economics of things. But the reality is, when we formed WSN, we knew what the voids and the realities of COVID were and how they were impacting us. We knew that there was need for a legal show, so we came with Rondell Donowa in Strictly Legal. Because I look at Parliament, I am a huge consumer of news. And I remember the times when I was the president of the TTBBA, there were so many legal battles, always worrying about the media being mooted, our press freedom index, where we stood, how things mattered. And so making the law simple for everybody is one of our major, major pillars. The other element, having been stuck in four walls for nearly 2 years, or over 2 years, we knew we needed a psychologist. We needed somebody to deal with the macho man and woman, to deal with the fallouts of the poor children, for all of us who suffered within four walls. And so we brought Sule Joseph, and we brought Psych into it. And I must give Sule special honorable mention, because he was recognized for his investigative pieces in this awards. So he stepped out of his comfort, and even though he's psychology, and he's in terms of healthcare education, it's his investigative pieces that mattered. I always remember when he interviewed the former prisoner, that beat at some of my strings, and I couldn't help but say I was proud. So we knew that. We did Madam Fix It. Finding the right person to deal with that is always a very important one, because Madam Fix It represents the person who can fix all our problems. You call in the utilities and not getting answers, fix it. Holes in the road, I saw JW followed us, and he's going and paving holes in the road, and kudos to him. But those are the things that matter. So we are proud, Keaton. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how do you think, what would you say is our, I suppose, greatest achievement as a young television station, if we can narrow it down to one?
You have anchors like Andy and Andre, and special kudos to them for still giving service. Andy is in his 70s, and he's still there batting with us. He's perhaps the longest real journalist in this country. And I say real because people call themselves journalists when they're reporters. But a reporter has to earn the right to become a journalist. But I'm especially proud of our youth. I'm proud of you and Sean and Kemwell, and the list goes on, because I look at Talking Point every day and I look at the viral. And folks, I have to apologize. We did lose our Facebook page for about a month. No fault of ours. We encroached on some foreign content. But all our loving Facebook viewers who like to give us all the running commentary, look out for the page. It will soon be back. So I'm proud of our investment in the youth. I'm proud of our investment in coming out the box and doing things that everybody else is not doing. Look, folks, look out this weekend. We are the only broadcaster of Pan on the Avenue.
Yes, yes. Darren, before I bid farewell to you, and again, congratulations to WSN. 3 years, it's fantastic what we've been able to achieve in the last 3 years. I've been here since the very beginning, when the cameras turned on for the very first time and we went live on air. What would you say is our, I suppose, our secret to surviving? How have we survived this journey thus far?
With grit, with a determination, I would say that, you know, many people always look at who is the owner of a media house and what they mean and what is their politics. This perhaps is the only media house in Trinidad where the owners don't interfere. They leave the team to be creative and free. And in so doing, we've created a family away from our families. And I think any of our families who sit at home, they know that when we are here, we're doing something that matters, that makes a difference. And so the recipe is really creating a family. Mm-hmm. And all I can do is cry, be happy, tears of happiness for what we have been able to achieve. And Trinidad and Tobago, the diaspora, everybody out there, look out for more to come.
I could agree with that. Look out for more to come, a lot more to come. Every day is a situation where we're sitting down planning for not only in the weeks ahead and the months ahead, but in the year and the years to come. Congratulations to WESN. Proud to be a part of the station and proud to be a part of all that we have achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, we break for news on the hour. When we reach in, well, we'll get into some more conversations. We'll be right back after this.
Here is the WESN News on the Hour. I am Sira Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Carl gets court order to pilots back to work. Man, girlfriend killed, relative wounded in ambush. Regionally, Tropical Storm Franklin warning in effect for Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And internationally, U.S. shop owner shot dead after a dispute over a pride flag. Now for the details. After a frustrating Sunday, which saw approximately 30 international flights and several domestic flights being cancelled, Caribbean Airlines has obtained an injunction preventing the Trinidad and Tobago Airline Pilots Association from taking industrial action. The airline sought the emergency order through the courts on Sunday. The court ordered that the union instruct its members to mediate the report for duty as rostered. The ex parte injunction stays in effect until further ordered. Carl described the problem on Sunday as originating from cockpit crew constraints after many pilots called in sick 3 hours before they were supposed to command the aircraft between Trinidad and Tobago and between Trinidad and Guyana, several islands and North America. An evening drive ended in bloodshed as a man and his girlfriend were killed and relative wounded in an Aruca shooting last night. Police report states that 24-year-old Daniel Camacho and his 22-year-old girlfriend Chanel Edwards were proceeding along the Hindustan Trace extension Aruca at around 10:20 p.m. with Edwards' 18-year-old sister in the back seat. While on the street, 3 gunmen got out of a Honda Civic that was nearby and fired shots at the trio before getting back into the Honda and driving off. Northern Division police were called in and rushed Edwards' 18-year-old sister to hospital, where she was treated for a gunshot wound to her shoulder. Region 2 homicide detectives are continuing inquiries. Regionally, Tropical Storm Franklin churned through the Caribbean Sea on Monday as authorities in Haiti and the Dominican Republic warned residents to prepare for floods and landslides. The storm was located some 240 miles south of Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic, and had maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. It was moving west at 6 miles per hour and was forecast to make a sharp turn north late Monday or early Tuesday. Internationally, a U.S. shop owner was shot dead after a dispute over a pride flag displayed outside her business. Laura Ann Carleton, 66, was found with a bullet wound at her Magpie shop in Cedar Glen, California on Friday. A suspect who fled the scene on foot was killed by police when found nearby, allegedly still armed. The suspect made disparaging remarks about the rainbow flag before shooting the victim, police said. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Officers then located the suspect armed with a handgun, the San Bernardino County Sheriff Corona Department said. At this point, a lethal force encounter occurred and the suspect was pronounced deceased. Feig, known for his films such as Bridesmaids, as well as the Freaks and Geeks TV series, said his friend had been shot after confronting the suspect for ripping down the flag. In an Instagram post, he said he was devastated for Mrs. Carleton family and the LGBTQ+ community, for whom Laurie was such a true ally. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I am Sierra Ali. Thanks for watching.
We exposed 5 strangers to KFC's delicious chicken to see if any time could be KFC time. And at the first bite, the party began. We repeated the experiment during the day, during business hours, on weekends, with sunshine, with rain. And it's confirmed. KFC's flavor makes anytime KFC time. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Bill and Ruth fell in love with the Benjamin Moore color Dry Sage, but they tried to match it using another brand's paint.
I mean, it's close enough.
Almost identical, really. Yeah, there it is.
Never trust another paint to be a Benjamin Moore color.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. Get everything you need to give your home that special look and feel. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. 5 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at Westmore, Pennywise Plaza Shoguanas, C3 Center Branch and C3 San Fernando. Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
From Maracas Bay to Arafita Avenue and Piaco, Richard's Bake and Shark brings the world's most popular fish sandwich closer to you. Open daily at all our locations.
The best for your baby is at dbesttoys.com. We have the best strollers, car seats, walkers, feeding accessories, playpens, cribs, clothing, and the widest range of brand name toys like Barbie, Hot Wheels, Nerf, LOL, Fisher-Price, Cocomelon, Intex Pools, Amazon Fire Tablets, HP and Gateway laptops, and the best bikes, scooters, skateboards, and ride-on. Visit us in-store at Southern Main Road, McBean, or shop online now at dbesttoys.com. That's dbesttoys.com. We have the best toys at the best prices.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
This city can't hold me, my vibe's too high, and my heart is
it told me jump right now, you will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when not done, they gon' know the name. Million people coming down, dancing to a song. Love is life and life is love, blessings from above. Can you feel the love that's in the air? Well, if you feel it, let me hear you say, dancing, moving, moving everywhere. If you feel it, let me hear you say, na 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 na, eh na 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 na.
When I lost and can't find my way, is your love help me elevate? And when they try to block, I still come again. It's the way you lift me up, I could never give it up, no.
This is the way we celebrate independence. This is how it should be done. An event like this brings everybody out. All different race, creed, everything. This is our country. And how is the best way to celebrate our independence? With our national anthem. The vision I had 6 years ago, trying to make people happy. We started this event not to stop. This event must continue. And at independence, we could celebrate it together as a country. Even though the hard things, the struggles, we will always remain together as one people. Thank you.
You give me that energy. Can you feel this energy with the rhythm beating inside of my soul? This energy, you give me that energy. We feeling this energy with the rhythm beating inside our way.
Take me to the river, take me to the sea. Wash over me music, wash over me. Take me to the river, take me to the river. Wash over me music, wash over me.
You gave us the inspiration to be first. We gave you the solutions that put you first. You walked with us side by side, and we continued to serve you with pride. First Citizens celebrates with you 30 years of achieving dreams, shaping success stories, and painting brighter futures together. And together, we'll accomplish so much more. First Citizens, together, 30 and beyond.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with this morning's edition of AM Prime. We get some regional updates before welcoming my final guest. We're starting with Ghana. Now, you would be aware of the reports coming from Ghana in regards to the situation involving comments by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and the response by Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Barrett Jagdeo. Foreign currency shortages in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has given new rise to a trend in Ghana, according to the Vice President, Barrett Jagdeo, one that is depleting foreign exchange locally. Dr. Jagdeo last week Thursday told reporters the government has discovered that Trinidad businesses operating in Ghana are procuring goods for their businesses from Ghana and shipping them to Trinidad. In so doing, they are utilizing Ghana's foreign currency to make those payments. Earlier this year, local private sector players had complained of a shortage of foreign currency, specifically US dollars. The Vice President also rallied against the constant running down of the Guyanese economy by Trinidadian businesses and politicians, including recent comments by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley regarding the Guyanese dollar. This report coming from Ghana.
A lot of Trinidadian companies now, because of intense foreign currency shortage in Trinidad, and they have exchange controls, which we don't have, because we have an open market. They have a managed market because of shortages. For months and months, people can't get foreign currency in that country. So we notice a trend here is that people, Trinidadian companies, or some Trinidadian companies, are procuring large quantity of goods for their business in Guyana and in Trinidad and paying from here, making payments from here to their suppliers. So they're utilizing our foreign currency to make those payments. So I hope Mr. Rowley looks at that too. I hate this thing when people try to run down our country too. I don't want to get into any controversy with Mr. Rowley, because one time I said about we determined to ensure that we don't utilize oil and gas resources the same way that they did, and it got into a big heated controversy. We, without being xenophobic, because Trinidad does have some expertise and it has some capital, and we welcome businessmen from any country. But they have to work, they have to be respectful of our people and our laws. And there's enough room in the oil and gas sector for them to invest in and not to try to get into the areas that we carved out for our own people, Guyanese.
Now, what are your thoughts and opinions on it? Well, one can argue that the Prime Minister didn't mean it in an impolite manner. He didn't mean it as an insult. Although, the points argued by Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo regarding a mockery of the value of the Guyanese dollar is very much one that has been on the table for quite some years. The Prime Minister's comments out of line. But have we just explored this further than it should be? Have we just taken it to a stage where it is unnecessary at this point, where there seems to be a tit for tat? There was commentary, I believe it was earlier this year, from the Vice President in Guyana regarding Trinidad and Tobago and the situation with our economy. If it was not earlier this year, it was late last year. And these comments once more from the Prime Minister seems to have triggered Dr. Barry Jagdeo once more. Is he defending his country? Or are we just taking it to a stage that, listen, guys, we don't need to be here, this is unnecessary? Should the Prime Minister apologize? Well, I guess we'll see what happens next. Anyway, in respect to Grenada, President of the Grenada Union of Teachers and the local bishop are saying no to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and queer or LGBTQ teachings in the schools. Now, this report coming from GBN in Grenada.
GBN was informed that government plans to push a new health and family life education curriculum from September that caters for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. GBN reached out to President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Jude Bartholomew, who said his union and the teachers they represent will in no way agree to reach any form of the LGBTQ curriculum in schools across the island. While there's been no official talks with the government or officials from the Ministry of Education on this topic, Bartholomew said the teachers have brought to his attention plans to include this form of education in schools. He claimed that this information was disclosed to teachers during a recent workshop.
I've been hearing talk about it with other teachers. I heard that there was a workshop in Grenada with the CTF and other persons, and what would have happened, teachers would have listened to that and hear something about the same issue or topic that you were talking about through discussion and presentation. And based on discussions or what I heard with some teachers, what they expressed, they were really, really mad. And I think that teachers, what you're hearing there, that is not our lifestyle and such, and is a bit strange and unfortunate, and teachers did really speak out about it. So I only heard about that from the teachers who were in the workshop, and that did not go down well with them.
The union leader said the present administration should not be pressured by any international organization to incorporate LGBTQ teaching in the school's curriculum, since it is against the morals and values of Grenada and its people.
Here from the Grenada Union of Teachers and from me as the president of the Grenada Union of Teachers who represent our members as teachers, this is a no-no for us. So we put it on notice to the Ministry of Education, the Minister for Education and the government of Grenada that we draw the line when it comes to that, and we say no to that in our schools. We say no to that, and teachers are saying no to that.
Echoing the same sentiments is Bishop Devon Rocher, Vice Chair of the Evangelical Arms of the Caribbean. He said this is against all that Grenada and its people stands for and should not be considered.
The school system are to equip persons to be productive, producing citizens in our society. That is the primary focus of what the school system is supposed to do. So when we start introducing theories within the school system that doesn't equip you to be a productive citizen, it caused me to wonder, why do we have a school system? Is it to indoctrinate our people? And as a pastor within the society, I push back strongly against it. As a parent, I'm saying that I will not accept it. I will not accept my children being taught this in any school system under any circumstances.
The pastor is calling on the Minister of Education not to be silent on the matter, but to clear the air on this sensitive issue.
And therefore, I will use this forum to also call on the minister to make a statement concerning this matter, to clarify what is happening. But it's only the Ministry of Education that could reassure us that no such agenda will be accepted at any time in Grenada, that this would not be part of the school curriculum. And outside of that, that some of the books that we've seen circulating in other Caribbean countries as a direct disrespect to our people will not be accepted here.
It has been more than a week since GBN has been attempting to obtain an interview with the Minister of Education on the issue, but efforts have proven unsuccessful. As it stands, same-sex relations is illegal in Grenada. Under the Grenada Criminal Code, Section 431, the offence of unnatural crime is committed by way of sexual intercourse per annum, i.e. anal penetration. Such offence is punishable by imprisonment for 10.
Well, that's coming out of Grenada in regards to health and family life education curriculum within the schools there. There are those who are objecting to LGBTQ studies within the school setting. Moving across now to Haiti. Government officials in Haiti say about 3,100 people have fled gang violence in the capital over the last few days. Homes have been burned to the ground in Port-au-Prince, and the head of the United Nations has repeated his call to send multinational armed forces to Haiti as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Haiti's most powerful gang leader, Jimmy Chazier, best known as Barbecue. By the way, Barbecue was sanctioned by the Trinidad and Tobago government earlier this year. I think it was in February Barbecue was sanctioned. He's not allowed to travel to Trinidad and Tobago. His bank accounts or any sort of transactions with Trinidad and Tobago are frozen, and any of his movements or transactions between Trinidad and Tobago and himself in Haiti, that is also flagged. But anyway, Barbecue has warned that he would fight any international armed force deployed to the Caribbean country if it committed any abuses. Well, we'll speak more a bit, but let's get on this report first.
Families carry the few possessions they have while they can. Caught in the battles for territorial control, they are fleeing violent gangs that have taken over their neighborhoods. This is the latest wave of displacement in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, where gang crime is rife and shortages of food and other essentials are widespread. Some seek shelter at this high school. They feel let down by their government.
It wasn't gangs that chased me out of my home. It was the Haitian state that made me abandon my home. It's the Haitian state that killed all the people, because it's the state that has the so-called legitimacy of violence.
Lawlessness has plagued Haiti, especially since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse nearly 2 years ago. The UN estimates more than 2,000 Haitians have been killed in the first half of this year as gang crime escalates.
We lost our policemen who were helping us fight the gangs. They bled all night, and now the gangs are bathing in their blood.
Nearly 200 criminal gangs operate in Haiti, more than half of them in the capital alone. They're armed and dangerous. The United Nations has again appealed for urgent international help, saying peacekeeping is no longer an option.
We hope those efforts move as quickly as possible. In the meantime, we know very well what the horrendous security situation is on the ground in Haiti, and the horrendous humanitarian situation as well, as a result, that keeps getting worse as a result of the deteriorating security situation.
Kenya has offered to lead a support force to intervene in Haiti, but the UN Security Council has not discussed deployment so far.
Si c'est ça qu'on est, on vient porter et on vient dans le quartier populaire, vient l'ouvrir coup de balle pour on vient tuer peuple là, vient faire massacre. Nous-mêmes haïtiens, n'a campé et n'a goumé contre eux, n'a goumé contre eux jusqu'à dernier goutte sang nous. Et goumé ça, c'est peut-être ça nous sortir nous, il pas goumé ni Genève, il pas goumé ni GPEP. L'a goumé peuple haïtien pour nous garder dignité pays nous.
All right, let's speak just a bit now on that multinational force. Kenya has indicated its willingness to deploy approximately 1,000 of its forces on the ground in Haiti to assist the police. There are approximately 10,000 police officers in Haiti for its population. Apart from that, it is stated that the police force in Haiti is not only underfunded and understaffed, but also their weapons are nothing compared to the weapons that the powerful gangs have in Haiti, so they are outpowered in terms of guns and ammunition. Beyond that, whilst Kenya has indicated its willingness, nothing has been set in concrete as yet. Jamaica, I believe, has also indicated its willingness to assist with Haiti. Trinidad and Tobago has indicated that it will continue to work with all those involved, including all stakeholders, to try and resolve the matters and political indifferences in Haiti. Though we are not in a position to actually send any soldiers or members of our police services to Haiti to assist, we are certainly helping in terms of diplomatic relations. So that's where we are in regards to a multinational force trying to intervene in Haiti. But should that be the case, the risk of war beyond what is currently being experienced in Haiti will only gain further momentum. Anyway, we have time to just squeeze in about one more regional update, and we'll go to Jamaica. The government of Jamaica has allocated $2 billion to fix and upgrade medical equipment and public health facilities across the nations. However, the Ministry of Health held a stern approach to private contractors for neglecting their responsibilities in contributing to the poor equipment. Let's take a look at this report from Jamaica.
They should be fired. Strong views of the health minister this evening to contractors who fail to do their jobs and maintain critical equipment in public health facilities. Dr. Christopher Tufton made the comment today as the ministry signed a service level agreement and medical equipment maintenance policy. With about 40% of non-functional equipment in public health facilities, the health ministry has set aside $2 billion to get them up and running.
It's a regular complaint. Patients going to public hospitals for treatment only to hear that a specific machine is not working. That leads to frustration, medical staff unable to do their jobs, and patients not getting the help they need.
Over 1,800 pieces of equipment in our hospitals in the 4 regional authorities. 47, based on the numbers that we looked at, were deemed fully functional, but nearly 40% not so.
And so Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is hoping to change that by formalizing a structure to maintain equipment. The service level agreement and medical equipment maintenance policy will also streamline operations across the 4 regional health authorities. Each of them will get $500 million. The Health Ministry is also hoping to finalize a policy to deal with the maintenance of things such as elevators and air conditioning units.
We are facing the wrath of the public, as carried by TVG and others, that an elevator is not working at Victoria Jubilee or at SAV where the operating theatre can't work. And the contractor is telling us that we have to wait 1 month for the part, he should be fired. Why would we wait 1 month for a part, no matter where in the world it is? Even if it is in Australia, where a flight takes 12 hours to North America. I would rather put a fan in the room and we work with the fan until we get a new contractor than be satisfied with an explanation about a 1 month wait. And we need a policy to guide the decisions along those lines.
Dr. Tufton also had strong words for other contractors who do not live up to expectations.
Cannot be right for a piece of equipment to break down, which is an essential piece of equipment, and you have to wait 6 months before you can repair it. That don't make sense in an essential service. It can't be good to have a procurement, as I heard at Bustamante Hospital, where a piece of vital equipment for eye care has been approved as a contract and the department is waiting 12 months to access it. That contractor should be fired too.
The minister is calling on the regional bodies to increase their knowledge of the procurement guidelines and make suggestions to improve efficiency.
Well, I actually look forward to the approach of Trinidad and Tobago being similar in the sense that contractors who actually do not complete their work that is necessary, that is required. And I'm talking about the quality of the work as well, not just the extent of the scope of works. I'm talking about the quality. Well, should they be paid in full? Mind you, the same people in the Ministry of Works, just an example, because this goes across the board, the same people in the Ministry of Works who are ones responsible for example, patching the highways. Not supposed to patch the highways, they've only created humps on the highways. And those are the same people that are supposed to ensure that the quality of works that we're getting from private contractors is up to par. And that be the case, oh boy, we're really in a mess. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for AM Prime this morning. Thank you very much for joining me. It certainly has been a pleasure. And unfortunately, our last guest could not join us this morning, but hopefully we can have them on tomorrow. Until then, though, do have a safe day ahead, a great one, maybe a productive one, and more so a safe one. And until then, I'm Keaton Shaw, bidding you farewell. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
WESN.
I am Rondell Donowa, and you are watching WESN, the content capital.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. Get everything you need to give your home that special look and feel. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. 5 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at Westmore, Pennywise Plaza Shoguanas, C3 Center Branch and C3 San Fernando. Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
From Maracas Bay to Arafita Avenue and Piaco, Richard's Bake and Shog brings the world's most popular fish sandwich closer to you. Open daily at all our locations.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk
group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc? Every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Living in victory every day.
Did you tell your hubby about it, first of all?
I did.
When you were telling him, did you think that he was going to think differently of you or less of you?
I thought exactly that.
In case you've missed it, it's an encore of Nicole Larson Live. Relive some of the riveting experiences of everyday people who candidly shared with me their stories, life challenges, stories of hope, and eventual victories.
Because he is not like man, because he is the God. It is a promise that we can hold on to.
The report came back that she had two properly...
Eric, behave yourself, no man.
Two properly working kidneys.
An encore of Nicole Larson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
My name is Carl Media. I am the founder and the host of Ever Increasing Voice Ministries. Join me every Saturday and Sunday on WESN, this powerful station, at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. nightly. Also on Sundays, I'll be on at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night time. When you come here, we are getting people heavenly ready.
This city can't hold me, my vibe's too high, and my heart it told me jump right now, you will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when not done, they gon' know the name. Million people coming down, dancing to a song. Love is life and life is love, blessings from above. Can you feel the love that's in the air? Well, if you feel it, let me hear you say, dancing, moving, moving everywhere. If you feel it, let me hear you say, na 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 na, eh na 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 na.
When I lost and can't find my way, is your love help me elevate? And when they try to block, I still come again. It's the way you lift me up, I could never give it up, no.
This is the way we celebrate independence. This is how it should be done. An event like this brings everybody out. All different race, creed, everything. This is our country. And how is the best way to celebrate our independence? With our national anthem. The vision I had 6 years ago, trying to make people happy. We started this event not to stop. This event must continue. And at independence, we could celebrate it together as a country. Even though the hard things, the struggles, we will always remain together as one people.